But not long afterwards, fate quickened. The 1978 Batasang Pambansa elections. Against an earlier decision of the political opposition to boycott, Ninoy decided to participate. Thus was born Laban, a ragtag group of 21 opposition candidates with nothing but patriotism in their minds, audacity in their hearts, and fire in their bellies. As a result, the Laban rally started to pick up like swollen water breaking the dikes. The ever-bulging Laban crowds roared into the April 6 noise barrage. It was a sight to see, a sound to hear, that noise barrage. On election day, April 7, Marcos pulled out all the stops. The communists, he said, orchestrated the noise barrage. The nation had to be saved, and so it was, Marcos fashion. Not one Laban candidate made it in the counting, despite several surveys that showed Ninoy as a top-notcher. So Ninoy was forgotten again, but not before he demonstrated that Filipinos could be roused, that their hearts could be touched, if only for an instant.
This struggle can only mean victory for all of us. It will mean victory because we are different from those that we oppose. Those that we oppose are happy with the material wealth, but for how long? It is our duty and our obligation to tell Mr. Marcos that maybe he is wrong, but definitely Mr. Marcos is a human being, and I have not lost hope that we can still reach him in the recesses of his conscience.
On March 19, 1980, while jogging outside his cell, Ninoy had a heart attack.
I said, what's wrong with me? You have blocked arteries, and you must undergo an emergency triple bypass, otherwise you may die in 6 days to 6 months. I told them, where can I have my operation? Dito lang po, sa heart center. And that's the heart center of Imelda Marcos. I said, if they cannot operate on me in America, please bring me to my cell. And so I wrote my letter to Mr. Marcos and made 2 covenants. That if I leave, I shall return. And 2, that while in America, I shall not speak out against his regime. All of a sudden, on Thursday morning, May 8, my wife visited me early in the morning, and she told me, the hospital is crawling with Metrocom cars. Guards all over the place. Baka kami magbibisita sa'yo. Then all of a sudden, my guards started jumping, putting their barong Tagalog, hiding all of their guns. I said, tama, may darating na VIP. And then lo and behold, the beautiful one ascended into my suite. And she sat down and said, naku Ninoy, sabi niya, I'm sorry to see you like that. Hindi ko lang nasabi sa kanya, kayo may kagagawa nito eh. At any rate, I had my bathrobe and I was like this, and she talked to me and we talked to her, and she was very nice about it. And then all of a sudden, after 1 hour, she said, would you like to go to America? Abay ka ko, sure. Oo. Sa tuwa ko, tinanggal ko pa yung aking kwintas, kako anting-anting ko ito, iwanan ko na kakuper dito. Palayasin na niyo ako, pumunta niyo ako sa Amerika. Sabi niya, there's a plane leaving at 6 o'clock. You can be in that plane.
The 3 years in Boston were the best 3 years the Aquinos ever experienced as a family. Ninoy did his level best to make up for the 7 years and 7 months that he was in Fort Bonifacio.
I've always said that Mr. Marcos is the original terrorist. He is right now employing state violence. But if we use violence against him, he will only justify the use of more violence against us. In other words, as Gandhi said, if he uses violence against you, do not give him a reason to justify his violence. Because if you're not violent, then before the bar of public opinion and before God, he is the only sinner.
Finally, it became clear that Ninoy was coming home. The earlier muffled roll of distant drums that he was returning now hit Malacanang like a thunderclap. Ninoy had to be stopped at all costs.
While it's true, Mr. Marcos, I said, that after my 8 years in prison, I have lost appetite for office. I am no longer seeking the presidency of this land. I'm not seeking anymore any office in this country. But believe me, I said, when I tell you that while I have vowed never to enter the political arena again, I shall dedicate the last drop of my blood to the restoration of freedom and the dismantlement of your martial law. I am going back to the Philippines, and if I have to go back to jail, so be it.
In a pre-return interview 3 weeks before he died, Ninoy said, Filipinos respect and admire courage best of all. Well, I'm going home. I'm going back home to prove to Marcos that I am not afraid of him. And I want to prove to our countrymen that I am going to stand my ground even at the risk of my life. And so Ninoy realized his moment of truth had come. Since he was denied his passport by Imelda, he used another one with a striking appellation, Marcial Bonifacio. It was a play of names to denote martial law and Fort Bonifacio.
My feeling is we all have to die sometime. If it's my fate to die by an assassin's bullet, so be it. But I cannot be petrified by inaction or fear of assassination, and therefore stay in a corner.
But flood tide had come. And Julius Caesar it was who said, decisions were made at flood tide before the waters recede.
I think the very fact alone that we can land is victory enough.
Hesitate and all is lost.
I have promised to return. I have returned against all odds.
August sunlight was streaming down Manila when Ninoy's China Airlines plane landed at the MIA before noon.
You have to be very ready with your hand camera because this action can become very fast.
Yeah.
In a matter of 3-4 minutes, it could be all over, you know. And I may not be able to talk to you again after this.
As he descended with burly military escorts, 25 shots rang out. Only one of them, the first, it seemed, killed Ninoy. The killing was awesome. It was also obscene. It did not square with the culture of the Filipino. It was like a hand crawling out of a slimy rock. It had an animal scream to it, a primal scream of somebody gone completely mad. It was unchristian. And because it was unchristian, it roused the Christian nation first to shock, then to shame, then to quiet indignation, then to street outrage.
What happened on that airport tarmac that high noon fitted perfectly into a favorite quotation of Ninoy from a Chinese sage. There is a sublime thieving in all giving. A man gives us all, and we are his forever.